So what's up, everyone? Thanks for stopping into mobytrails.com. I'm going to pour some candles today. It's not rocket science. You melt the wax, you pour it in jars. I'm just wanted to cover some of the steps I take and some of the things you're going to need. Obviously you got your jars. I'm not playing with any, I didn't buy any special jars etched and designed and all that. These are just their jars. This is an old grape jelly jar. Here's some pizza sauce jars. So here's some olive jars. Just regular old jars. Now when you order your sets, or when you order your wax, you can get a kit. And the kit comes, you can get a full-size kit with everything you need for about 20 bucks. It comes with a little bag of wax. But you get your melting pour can. You get a few of these Wick Centering things. You'll need these. They set on top of the jar. You get your little sticky pads, and you get your wicks. This was about the only thing that somebody might forget to do or wonder how to do. You got your little sticky pads that sticks to the bottom of your wick, the metal part. Then you take off the other end. You know, they're little two-sided stickies. And then that goes into the bottom of your jar. So you slide your wick down. And anchor it in the bottom of your jar. So now your stick stays there when your wick stays in when you fill it up now with the hot wax. And then the centering thing goes down over the wick. It centers on your jar. And they fit different jars depending on, you know, how you set it on your jars, how high you might want your wick. So they're fairly universal size. They fit a number of jars. And then you kind of crimp the wick into it to keep it in place. And now your wick stays centered. You fill it up with your wax, you set it on your tray, and you let it cool. That's it. No rocket science. You're going to probably want a little pour spout. And then you've got your box of wax. You can get boxes. I got the kit for, like I said, about 20 bucks, and it came with a little bag of wax. It came with the centering, wick centering anchors or whatever. And it came with the little pour jar, and it came with some wicks and the little sticky wick anchors. So that came in the original kit. It was about 20 bucks. I went through it and then I bought more wax. This is a 10-pound bag of wax, and they cost about 35 bucks. The more wax you buy, the cheaper it gets. I've seen boxes as much as like 50 pounds of wax for like 130 bucks, 140 bucks, depending on where you go, something like that. So your 10-pound boxes are going to run around 35 bucks. I've seen single pound bags for as much as like 20 and 30. So I'd go with like a 5-10 pound box, 30 bucks. And I don't remember exactly how many candles you get out of it, but you're going to get, you know, 10-12 candles out of it. And then you've got your candles for emergency situations. And the reason I like to recycle old food jars is because then they come with the lids, and you can just secure your candles. Throw them in, you know, your travel bag or whatever. Yeah, I know they're glass, and you don't want to. I try to avoid taking glass anywhere it could break and hurt anyone. But it's quick and easy, and if you've got an old jar of jelly or jar of olives or whatever, jar of pizza sauce, spaghetti sauce, you've got your jars sort of for free. You didn't have to go order. You want to use designer jars? That's cool. Spend more money, get prettier jars. That's it. That's cool. But I'm doing this strictly for emergency situations, so I've got some candles in the house during emergencies. So you need your kit with your little pour jar, your little wick centering anchors. You get a bag of wicks for, I don't know, 10 bucks for 100 of them, something like that, I don't remember. And then your little sticky anchors, and then if you've got your own jars. So we're just going to melt this up and we're going to pour some candles. Fill your little cup up. Fill up your little cup. And then you set it in your pan of boiling water. And then it just melts. The one thing, if I had to say, that I don't particularly love about this is you've got to fill this up a bunch of times. So this is going to melt down. It's going to be about half a jar. Then you've got to grab, or half a can. You got to grab more wax, throw it in to build it up. It's graduated. It's got little marks on it. You know, your little 550 milliliters or whatever it is. So if you need a certain amount, if you know how much wax your jars hold, which is simple enough, you fill it up with water, pour it into the little cup, and see how much water it is, and that's how much wax you're going to need. So you can actually melt it. You know, I'm going to do a ton of them, so I'm going to just melt it craziness. But I mean, if you only had a certain amount of jars that you wanted to fill, at least then you wouldn't be wasting a bunch of wax. But another thing I found with the wax, oops, sorry about that, is even if you just let it cool, then you let the jar cool, you let this pour jar cool, you can leave wax in it. Let's say you don't use all the wax, just leave the last little bit of wax in it or whatever. It'll cool, it'll harden. You store it with your wax in a separate box, and then when you're ready to do more, then you just throw it back in the water and it remelts. So don't really worry about wasting wax. The one thing I noticed though, some of the kits come with all the little bells and whistles, as far as, you know, like essential oils for scenting and you know, some dyes for coloring and stuff. I bypassed all that. I just wanted regular candles. I'm not trying to get fancy, but I did shave off some crayons, Crayola crayons, for the color, and I melted it, and it worked. It melted, and then it turned my candles color. But I don't know if it's the type of wax Crayola crayons are made with, or if it's the dye that gives them color. I don't know exactly what it is, but they did not burn well at all. So let me repeat that. Don't melt Crayola crayons into your soy wax, because then the candles don't burn properly. So I'm not using any color or anything with any of these. I haven't tried the specific dyes or essential oils for scenting or anything with this soy wax, so I can't speak to that. I don't know if it works or not, or if it affects the burning of your candles. But Crayola crayons in your candles doesn't work. So just stick to your wax. And as this starts to melt down, we're going to throw more handfuls of wax in it. So we're going to get a big old jug of it. Like I said, the top graduation mark, I know you can't really see it, but there's a top graduation mark, and it says 550 milliliters. So that's probably, what, just over a half liter. So anyway, we're going to throw more wax in this. This is where it gets messy, that I don't really like. Alright, another quick note on these wicks. This is a 100 pack for 6 inch wicks, 100 pack. These and 2 of the little anchors, and then the 10-pound box of wax. That was one kit. So I got the wax, the wicks, and the anchors, the straighteners, levelers, whatever they're called, center racks. It was like $37 for that. Plus, I had recently purchased a kit that had the little metal pour pot, melting pot, pour pot, and then that came with, I believe that came with the little sticky anchors, a pack of wicks, I don't remember how many, and a couple more of the little centering racks. So when I got the first kit, little bag of wax, the melting pot, some wicks, and some anchors, and some sticky things. That was about 20 bucks. Now when I got this one, it was $37 for a 10-pound box of wax, more wicks, and more anchors. And then I just looked up a little while ago, there's more wicks you can buy. Obviously you can buy wicks single, but there's a 300 pack. And if I remember right, I think they're 8-inch wicks. There's like 100 of each. 8-inch wicks, 6-inch wicks, and then like 3.5-inch wicks. So if you have short bottles, you can use these 6 and you can cut half the wick off, or you can get 3.5-inch wicks, which work better for the shorter bottles. So anyway, just a quick word on the wicks. And then we're gonna pour some of this wax. Alrighty, so we've got our wick stuck to the bottom of the jar with the little anchor stickies, and then we've got it centered with the centering anchor. And now you just pour your wax in. And there you go. So there's a little left over. That was just under a half a liter filled up. That's a grape jelly jar. Smucker's grape jelly. That's what that jar is. So yeah, talking about different size wicks. I just found these in my box of supplies. So I assume that's, I don't know, what does that look like, 3.5 inches? So there's a short one. So if you've got your olive jars. And then here's the 6-inch ones that we've been using. So just an FYI, I guess I did have some 3.5s. Maybe these came with one of the kits I bought. I don't remember how I ended up with the 3.5-inch ones, 3.5-inch wicks. So there's those wicks, and then I got two packs of these. So it's a couple hundred candles. So another note to self here. I had forgot to put down a little drip tray. I laid it on the grate thing, which is fine because I didn't want to get wax on the cookie cooler or whatever. But in case you miss it totally and hit the counter, good idea to put down a little drip tray. It's just easier for cleanup. And then I was trying to snap this wick in after I poured the wax in it. Just in case you bump it, tip it over, whatever. That's hot melted wax, and I wouldn't want to spill it. So you should probably put your little centering piece on before you get wax into it, because it does take a little click, and you kind of got to get your fingers in there to lock it into the little notch. And that's just easier to do if it's empty than if it's full of hot wax. Moving the jars can almost be a challenge because they are hot, and it takes it a while to cool down. So I'd get your jars set up so they're pour friendly and the little anchors are in place. And like I said, these fit. If it doesn't fit this way, flip it over, it'll fit this way. They do fit multiple jars. Whoops. And then just kind of lock it down. Pull up gently. You don't want to pull it off the bottom, but pull up gently. And then just notch it into place. And now your wick will be straight. One more here. I didn't do these initially because I didn't know how many candles I was going to be able to get done. But part of me doesn't care. Let's just get them all set up. So pull it up kind of gently, snugly. See, like this one doesn't want to notch in, so you got to get your finger under there. There it goes. And it's notched in. Looks fairly straight. I know it's not perfect, but it's good enough. It just keeps the wick from laying over to the side, because as soon as you pour the hot wax in, the wicks get super weak. You know, it's just a piece of string. It's just a piece of wax string, but the second you kind of melt the wax on that string, it'll just fold right over and it won't it won't stand up for your candle to cool off and get hard around it. So another note to self. See how it kind of drips? That's what the little drip pan is for. Alrighty, so we're all melted up. I'm gonna take this out. Pour it in our last jar. Alright, so we have wax left over. This is what I was talking about earlier. And you could do one of two things. I don't have any more of the Wick Centering anchors, or I could, if I could center a wick, I could just pour it in the jar, half full, it cools. When I get more wax, then I could top it off. You could do it that way, or you can just set this down to cool and just let it stay in there. And then the next time we do candles, you just start off with setting that in the hot water and it'll melt and it'll be fine. I don't have any more of the anchors right now, so I can't do any more jars until these cool off enough for me to be able to pull the Wick Centering anchor out. So I'm kind of done for now. I do have a little more wax, so I could probably do maybe 2 or 3 more candles, but I gotta let these cool. This is what it looks like when it starts to cool. This one's working on it. So they go from clear, oily looking to then they start to kind of get foggy. They cool off, and then this is what they look like when they're done. This is just a Tostitos jar. Used it a couple times. Works fine, like I said, works great. Here's a Prego spaghetti sauce one. And then these are what I was talking about earlier. Here's your like standard, you know, if you can get them at the store, cheap, hey, great, yay. I don't remember how much these are. They're roughly the same size as the Prego jar, you know, they're a little smaller. I want to say they're over $5 though. They're like maybe 9. I don't know if they're that much. If you can find them cheaper, go for it. These short, fatter ones, kind of the Tostito jar kind. These I think were a little more. Again, I don't remember how much. They're not scented. They're not all pretty or anything. They're just standard generic candles. If you can find them cheap, then great. Go ahead. So, there we have it. Quick and dirty. Emergency candles. Not really any cleanup. We had a pot of boiling water that we melted that in. We're just going to let that set up and reuse it next time. If you used your little drip tray, you don't have anything to wipe up. So we're all set and ready. So, just today's quick and dirty low tech tip. Thanks for stopping in at MobyTrails.com. See you.